As you know, when I first became superintendent of police, there were so many issues that were so important to me. Response times was one of those things. I knew from the very beginning that they were not good, that it was taking us far too long to get to our citizens. I immediately began implementing solutions to those problems, initiatives like the false alarm ordinance, like trying to develop an online reporting system, initiatives that would take some of the work away so that we could get to our citizens faster, that the officers in the field would have more time to respond to calls, be more visible, focus on things that are far more important. And so we started that initiative early on in my administration. I heard you loud and clearly toward the end of the year when the citizens of New Orleans, when our visitors told us we're taking far too long to get to calls. Overwhelmingly, citizens said, Chief, this is what you should be focusing on. So that's exactly what we've started doing all the way down to every single second. Just by implementing our APR unit, Alternative Police Response. We started that in August 1st, moving a number of property calls to telephone reporting until the online reporting system could be developed and implemented. Since August 1st, they've averaged over 200 police reports a month. That equates to about 200 man-hours taken away from the officers in the field who otherwise would have to go to a scene, meet with the citizen, and physically take a police report. So that has freed us up tremendously in the amount of work we're doing in the field so that we could focus on more important things, particularly violent crime and response times. But we're proud to report on a big piece of progress that we're having. We also implemented some new management initiatives so that we can look at how long it takes to get to every call, and every commander can account for every single call so that we can know how long it takes to get there, what's taking so long, why the problem exists, and how to fix it. And so we implemented a 5-platoon system that I instructed every district commander to implement in their respective districts. So we went from having 3 platoons to 5, so there are 2 overlapping platoons that overlap the shift change, because by and large, the numbers showed that the increase in response times came out of those shift changes when officers were either coming into the station to get off from work and coming into the station to start their shifts. And so that has worked, and just with that management practice alone, we're making the commanders extremely accountable, extremely responsible, knowing every single call that takes an enormous amount of time, being able to explain why, and preventing that when at all possible. That has allowed us to have a major reduction in the time it takes to get to citizens. But in addition to that, we took the advice of our consultant, Berkshire Associates, to put 94 more officers on the street so that we can have the right amount of police officers answering citizens' calls, which is 353. We recently put 54 officers out there in our first phase of the deployment. So those 2 initiatives alone helped us to have about a 40% reduction in response times. And we've been holding at that 40% for some time now. For those that visit our CompStat, they actually get to hear and see our commanders talk about every single call that may skew the numbers. They know exactly why those calls took the length of time they took. They know how to prevent it when we can. The officers have bought into this new program, and we've been holding about a 40+% reduction for some time now. And so we realize that that's not really enough, because that gets us to about an 11-minute response time on average. We're really trying to get to about a 7-minute response 90% of the time. We have another phase of deployment to do. We're going to put more officers in the field in the very near future. And all of this is designed to help us reduce response times. We're moving very fast with a new initiative with electronic warrants, where officers can create their warrants and send that to a judge electronic to review and have a signature, to keep the officers from having to go back to the station, type a warrant, then travel across the city to find an available judge, travel back to the district, to headquarters, all the things that need to be done. Electronic police citations are on the way, where officers are writing electronic police citations for traffic violations. So there are a number of initiatives that are making us a first-class, world-class police department that's also helping us reduce response times to get to citizens faster. We're proud to say that just with being smarter about the way we deploy, we have arrived at about a 40% reduction, giving us somewhere on average of about 11 minutes, but we still have that goal of 7 minutes 90% of the time, which we will hit once all of these initiatives are up and running and have some traction. So thank you for being here, for us to share this progress with you We do know it's still a lot of work to be done. We have a long way to go, and this is something we look at every single day and every single week across the city, so that we can not only never go back to it, but improve on it and make it better. I would say that the one thing that we really can focus on is helping us grow to about 1,600 where we really need to be. The real issue is having more police officers to deploy so that the citizens won't have those concerns, and that's why it is so important we get the funding that this millage would give us to grow beyond the amount of officers we have now. So in order for us to grow by the end of 2020 to 2016, we're going to need additional funding. We can't do it without that funding, so it is imperative that we get it. And so that's the one key thing we can focus on to the citizens, that if they really want to help us to get to those response times and keep them where they're supposed to be the majority of the time, we really need to grow. We need to grow fast, and we need their help.